How are all of you lovely people doing today? My name is John, and welcome to another wonderful Zombies commentary. Let's talk about DLC 2. The other day we were given some pictures of the new map, and we thought, okay, this is wonderful. More DLC news is probably just a day or two away. I bet we'll get a trailer on Tuesday, and you know what? Tuesday rolled around, and I waited patiently on Twitter looking for some kind of glimmer of hope, some reason to quickly jump on my computer and then have my mind blown by a cool zombie map, and nothing came. We got diddly squat. No new information about DLC 2. Sure, we got a silly trailer on new additions to multiplayer, but we don't care about that. We don't need your silly weapons and your taunts. We don't want that. We're zombie slayers. We want some zombies information. Unfortunately, we haven't got it yet. We're gonna have to wait and stay tuned. Hopefully it drops this Tuesday, but I figured I would throw this theory out for DLC 2. This has been something that I've been toying around in my head for quite a while now, and I'm gonna throw it out there, and we'll see whether or not it actually has a leg to stand on when the trailer comes out or when the map comes out. Let's begin. The entire theory stems around this quote that Tank Dempsey says during the Easter egg of Der Eisendrache right after we blow up the moon. He raises a pretty good question.
We don't need the moon, right? I mean, nothing bad could come from that.
Tank raises a pretty interesting question. If we remove the moon, what happens to the Earth? Of course, there has to be some kind of repercussions. You can't just blow up the moon and assume everything will be all hunky-dory. That doesn't really make sense. And of course, this is a video game. Treyarch could, if they wanted, say, oh, you blew up the moon? Well, congratulations, this actually has no effect on the actual Earth. We're just going to continue with the story as if the moon was never blown up. And if you look at the sky, don't wonder why things haven't changed because the moon blew up. But maybe not. Treyarch did leave this quote in the game. Maybe they're trying to get us to consider things. Maybe they want us to start thinking ahead and speculating for future DLC. How would things play out now that the moon has been removed from the equation? The moon does in some ways have an effect on the Earth. The most notable effect would be the tides. So of course the moon is responsible for the tide cycles. The areas closest to the moon as well as the areas on the opposite ends of the point of the Earth closest to the moon are where high tide is experienced, and then the points in between those points is where low tide is experienced, and this cycles around as the moon moves about the Earth. Everybody knows this isn't interesting, but it becomes interesting when we consider that our upcoming Zombies map is supposedly on an island, in fact a pretty particular island. We believe this island is Pompeii based on the information we've received from coordinates. I've spoken about this 100 times already. Now Pompeii becomes interesting when you consider that there's actually a ruined city on this island. It's known as Modal. Modal was actually the inspiration for the sunken city of R'lyeh. In addition to that, there have been many authors who have written about Modal actually being connected to the lost continent of Mu or Lumeria. Treyarch picked this location for a reason. They didn't just arbitrarily pick a random spot in the middle of the ocean, and then that random spot just so happened to be where the inspiration for the sunken city of R'lyeh was, as well as the home of the lost continent of Lumeria or Mu. No, Treyarch picked this place for a reason, because they found these elements interesting and they knew they can continue to build their story around it. This is what they've been doing this entire time. After all, Shadows of Evil is full of Lovecraft references and lore. Treyarch specifically chose this island, and if that's the case, we can start to play around with these ideas when we consider that the moon is now gone. With the moon gone, in theory, this should calm the oceans and also remove the effect of high tide. The tides as a whole, or at least the ocean level, should subside and get much lower. Maybe not noticeably lower, drastically lower at least, but maybe just a little bit. Maybe so that something sunken under the water could be revealed, possibly an entrance to this lost sunken city, or maybe some signs of this lost sunken continent. Maybe that's what Treyarch wanted to do. Maybe Treyarch decided that our characters were going to blow up the moon, and then this was going to have the surprise effect of actually revealing the lost continent of Mu, or the sunken city of R'lyeh that is hidden by Modal. It would make sense why Treyarch would want to include this area into the map, and it would also make sense why Division 9 is researching here. We'd imagine if the lost city of Rilo or a sunken continent of Mu or Lumeria was there might be some element 115. This is a particularly important area to research. This would explain why Division 9 is there, and this would become incredibly interesting as we played through the zombies map. What if we're at the base? This is where everything starts, but then as we continue to explore, we realize that the sea level has gotten much lower, and suddenly there's a whole freaking city that we can explore, or at least the gateway to the city, or maybe our characters are working with this gateway in some way. This could be a part of the Easter egg. I would really love to see this in the next map, and I think that'd be incredibly fascinating. Hopefully Treyarch does this. The potential is there. They've set this up by blowing up the moon, and they've also set it up by setting their map in this location. It'd be a really missed opportunity should they not do this. There's one more thing I want to mention. We were given this image of the upcoming zombies map. Well, what's interesting about this image would be these little yellow balls or yellow bulbs that are kind of poking out of the ground. They contrast everything else in the image, and they also don't fit in with much that we've seen in the zombie storyline. You could point to the similarities between them and the buzzards that we saw in Shadows of Evil, although there really isn't enough information to make a definitive connection. I would like to throw out one theory that I've been toying around with in my head, and it also relates to the idea of blowing up the moon. We blow up the moon, and, well, the moon just doesn't stay there. The moon drifts around, and the bits will actually fall towards the Earth because the Earth's gravity will pull it in. Well, what if those chunks and bits actually fall down to the Earth? Some of them have stuff like element 115 or other sort of elements with other sort of properties or effects, and that's what we actually see on this map in the image. We see bits of the moon actually crashed into the Earth, and maybe these have like special elements that has special abilities, or maybe whatever is inside the buzzards in Shadows of Evil was also on the moon and then has now crashed down onto the Earth, and that's why we can see it in this location, because it's not something that you would normally see on Earth. It almost looks alien, like it was outer space. Maybe it did fall from the moon. That's just me throwing out a random theory. It's just one possible way we could possibly explain those little yellow things that are in this image. That's going to wrap things up, though, for this commentary. I just kind of wanted to throw these ideas and these theories out there. I feel like this is a great opportunity that I'm really hoping Treyarch takes. I think it'd be a cool direction for the storyline, as well as an interesting take on a zombies map. I don't think it's anything we've ever done before. I mean, a sunken city suddenly being revealed accidentally by our characters would be pretty freaking cool, if you ask me, and the elements are there to do it. Hopefully I'm right, but we're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to go, though. If you enjoyed this video, maybe give it a like and possibly subscribe for more zombies videos. I upload multiple every week, and if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll enjoy the next one. Have a great day, and bye.